Supporters of the legalization of Bingo Act or Proposal A were out in full force on Saturday for a wave in downtown Hagåtña, hosted by the for-profit bingo backers known as the Guam Japan Friendship Village. PNC was able to sit down with one of the group's attorneys on that day to answer the lingering questions surrounding the initiative. Saipan attorney Jennifer Doctor tells us Takami Hisamoto runs the organization. The initiative was his idea and his venture.
The spearheader of Guam Japan Friendship Village, of course, is Takami Hisamoto. That's my boss. That's who I report to. And that's who makes the decisions that we all carry out.
We also ask her if we will ever hear from him aside from the TV and radio ads he recorded.
People have approached him freely. We've had lunches with over 100 people at a time, and they've all been able to approach him whenever they wanted and ask questions. He's also visited villages, so it's certainly not that he's not answering questions, but no, he's not in front of the camera kind of guy.
As for the question of any other silent backers, Doctor argues it's a concentrated distraction from voters, given Guam's past history with initiatives.
If they just look at the proposition, and if we just talk about the proposition, and we just look at Mr. Hisamoto even, there's nothing to knock it down with. We have a proposition that's written very well, that's written with the intention of generating revenue and income for the most important parts of Guam.
Last week, PNC looked at the group's cash contributions, which showed amounts of $140,000 and $125,000 were given under its name. Doctor says it's all anonymous donors and financial institutions, which is perfectly legal. We also ask her why would he represent Annette Cruz.
He reached out to her because she's the boots on the ground that has a lot of experience. So he found her for that purpose, for her knowledge and history, but he certainly doesn't represent her legally or anything like that.
Doctor adds Hisamoto never had direct business ties to Guam, but his family and business associates knew about Guam.
He's always had a fascination with Guam, but him directly by himself having a business tie, this is his first time.
Doctor notes their message is simple, but buried by unnecessary drama. It's not about slot machines, and aside from creating new jobs and new buildings, Prop A gives back to the community.
The greatest part about this is it's not like any other business. This business is required by the law to give 20% of their revenue. And that revenue does not just go to the general fund. This goes to your children's public school, this goes to your police department, your fire department, and your public health. And that's really the message. That's the message, and that's the message that has got buried under things that simply aren't true.
We also ask her if they feel unfairly attacked by their main opposition, Keep Guam Good.
Unfairly attacked, no. No. Definitely not. Keep Guam Good, I think, has sincere intentions. I think they're misguided. Certainly unfair they've not been unfair to us in any way. That being said, I think they've been unfair to voters.
So why did they wait so long to speak about the initiative? Doctor says the proposition speaks for itself, and they didn't want people to be tired of hearing from them.
Elections drag on forever. And people are bombarded every year, it seems like, with more and more information over a longer period of time. And by the time the election comes around, we didn't want to be the group that nobody wanted to hear from anymore.
And who wrote the legalization of Bingo Act? She says some of Hisamoto's lawyers in Hawaii and other individuals wrote it.
Who asks who wrote it? But the answer is very easy. Mr. Hisamoto is not... His art is not writing propositions, but lawyers and writers are the people who do this, that know how to do it in a way that makes it sound and tight and good and does exactly what it's supposed to do.
Doctor says their final message to the island community is to log on to GuamLovesBingo.com and go vote, because Prop A is not slot machines, it's not bridge capital, and it creates more jobs and funding for public schools, public health, and public safety.
Every person who votes can appreciate that. Every person who votes needs that. Guam needs that. So I hope they vote yes, and I hope they let the distractions and the things that aren't true not cloud their judgment.
Josh Tikenko, PNC News.